The fourth week in Ordinary Time, the church takes us on the beginning of this journey through the Sermon on the Mount. And Rafe was just telling me about the end of the second season of The Chosen, where they're getting ramped up for the Sermon on the Mount, and it almost looks like they're getting ready for a Steubenville conference or something like that, some big rally revival. They're just missing the big tent. Maybe they actually ended up putting one in there. I don't know. I haven't watched season 3, but we'll see. In the first portion of the sermon, we get the Beatitudes, and the readings set the stage for our approach to Jesus' words. Even in the first reading, we get this call to approach the Lord and the world with humility, and a reminder in the Psalm as well that the Lord looks upon the lowly and takes care of the oppressed, the hungry, the blind, the widow and the orphan and the stranger. So the Lord is looking out for those who are lowly. And I think it's hard for us to take that seriously. We have such a temptation to self-reliance and to provide for ourselves and things like that. I'm currently going through St. Faustina's diary. How do they put it? Diary of a Soul, St. Faustina's diary. And it was interesting. At one point, one of her sisters in the convent, said something to the effect of, God would never choose you, such a lowly person for such great revelations. And she took that to the Lord, and he basically affirmed it. He's like, yeah, Faustina, she's right. Like, I wouldn't choose you for this, and yet that's why I chose you, because you don't have the capabilities, but in your humility, in your lowliness, I can raise you up and do great things. So a lot of us really need to flip our perspective on its head and recognize that it's in our humility, in our lowliness, that the Lord really reaches us and reaches other people. So then when we get into the Beatitudes themselves, we have these pronouncements. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they who mourn, for they shall be comforted. And on down the line. And I remind people that it's interesting that God promises, Jesus promises in these Beatitudes fulfillment here and now on a couple of them, and then fulfillment to come in the others. So, following the Lord and finding that level of humility and approaching Him, brings us a sense of happiness, blessedness, contentment, good fortune. However you want to define, what blessed really means. We find some of it here and now, and some of it is promised in the life to come. So, but it all, really depends on our submission to God, our humility, our recognition of our lowliness, and our inability to attain these things on our own. We can't completely satisfy ourselves, but only in the Lord can we be truly blessed, truly fulfilled, truly content in Him. And so much of it is going to come in the world to come. So, he begins the sermon with those Beatitudes, kind of sets us on our journey and makes these promises to us. But it's also left in our court too, to return the volley that we need to be seeking, to be poor in spirit, acknowledging that we mourn and seeking Him, being meek, not a pushover, but really with a kind, calm demeanor, if you will, thirsting for righteousness, being merciful to others, being pure in heart, being a peacemaker, and in a sense accepting the persecution as it comes and turning to the Lord for strength. So let's seek deeper humility in our lives as we begin this journey through the Sermon on the Mount, and see where the Lord takes us in our lives and in the lives of others, and certainly throughout this journey.